This week at Starbase, Ship 37 receives its engines, we catch a glimpse of some new hardware for Block 3 Superheavy boosters, and construction continues in every corner of Starbase. Will everything be ready in time ahead of Flight 10, or could there be delays due to vehicle or infrastructure issues? Let's dig into this week's update and take a closer look. This week in ship and booster fabrication work, we saw the removal of a ship disconnect panel from inside Megabay 2. The panel was likely removed from one of the building stands where it had been used to keep vehicles pressurized while being worked on. The first fuel transfer tube of Superheavy Block 3 was wheeled out of Star Factory and taken to Megabay 1 for installation in Booster 18. SpaceX and Elon Musk shared additional photos and information about this new Falcon 9 size transfer tube, which is large enough to carry the boost back and landing reserve fuel for the booster. The new design should help Superheavy carry more payload and be more reliable when landing. Workers brought several engines into Megabay 2 for installation on Ship 37. Sea level and vacuum engines alike were taken in, with at least one apparently rejected and sent back out before it or a replacement was brought back in. Moving on to construction progress at the launch complex, tower cladding on the east side of the Pad B launch tower has reached the 8th level as workers continue to install the protective panels around the lower levels. Workers also installed the back panel for the liquid oxygen booster quick disconnect structure on the gantry. A new methane pump motor was delivered to the launch site, where it was unwrapped and unpacked and covered over again. The pump was uncovered and lifted into place the next day, followed by the pump motor the day after, bringing the pump station one step closer to full capacity. A third cross-brace reinforced vaporizer was installed at the pump farm. The unit was previously delivered on the 30th of June. Moving back to the build site to review construction taking place this week, inside Megabay 2, workers began assembling a new workstation stand, starting with the stand support legs. In all, 6 stand legs were installed inside. Later that afternoon, the first piles were drilled and fitted with rebar for Gigabay, Texas. These reinforced concrete piles are the first of several hundred that will create friction with the ground, letting the soil bear the weight of the completed bay and its 24 work stands. At the Massey outpost, cleanup work continues following the heavy damage sustained when Ship 36 exploded. 2 pump motors were removed from the facility, and a pair of damaged vaporizers were knocked over for removal. In other Starbase news, on Friday, the city of Starbase celebrated its first annual Independence Day fireworks show for the United States' 249th birthday. Cameron County also approved the construction plans for a new air liquefaction plant across the street from the Starbase launch complex. When it's complete, the new plant will produce liquid oxygen and liquid nitrogen for the launch operations, eliminating several hundred tanker truck deliveries ahead of each flight. In other space news this week, with the decreasing competitive relevance of Aryan space and European space flight capabilities, the European Space Agency has selected 5 European space companies, ISAR Aerospace, Maya Space, Orbital Express Launch, PLD Space, and Rocket Factory Augsburg, to receive funding to demonstrate new, more competitive rockets by the year 2030. Blue Origin also installed propellant tanks in their first Blue Ring spacecraft. Blue Ring is being developed as a space tug with multiple propellant options for refueling, transporting, and hosting satellites. Firefly Aerospace performed structural testing for their second Blue Ghost moon lander, verifying the performance of the lander's carbon fiber structure. United Launch Alliance has begun stacking the next Vulcan rocket for its first national security mission. The USSF-106 mission will also be the first to lift off with the Ford GEM 63XL solid rocket boosters. Rocket Lab has also signed an agreement with Bollinger Shipyards to produce a landing platform for the company's upcoming Neutron rocket, similar to SpaceX's and Blue Origin's autonomous landing ships. Down at the Cape, following the successful completion of the MTG-S1, Sentinel-4A, and Starlink Group 10-25 missions, Falcon 9 Booster 1085 and 1067 were returned to Port Canaveral. The 2 boosters were unloaded at the dockside stands, and after being stowed, were sent back to Roberts Road for refurbishment for future flights. An unknown payload for an upcoming Falcon 9 launch was also rolled into Space Launch Complex 40 for vehicle integration. Falcon 9 Booster 1077 lofted the Starlink Group 10-28 satellites into orbit on Tuesday morning. The recovered fairing halves from the mission returned to port the next day, while the first stage of the rocket followed a day later, ready for its stay at the dockside stands. Once the landing legs were stowed, the booster was sent back to Roberts Road for refurbishment. And there you have it, another SpaceX and Starbase weekly update brought to you by LabPadre. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already, guys, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. LabPadre out.